That which does not kill us makes us stronger. Namaste. Welcome to the morning assembly. Today is 29th of July, Saturday. અને ગુજરાતી તિથિ પ્રમાણે આજે જ્યેષ્ઠ સુદ 11 છે. Let us begin our day with prayers to the Almighty. Please rise for the chanting of Om. Please be seated.
Orthopedic Awareness Week, an initiative dedicated to promoting awareness and understanding of orthopedic health and well-being. We have gathered here to shine a spotlight on the importance of bone and joint health and to emphasize the role that orthopedic care plays in enhancing the quality of life for individuals of all ages. We are delighted to have the esteemed team of orthopedicians among us. Their invaluable contributions to society, their dedication to the medical field, and their inspiring achievements have touched the lives of countless individuals. We are truly fortunate to have them here today, as they bring with them a wealth of experience and knowledge that will undoubtedly enrich our minds.
We have with us Dr. Rao. Sir is the president of Gujarat Orthopedic Surgeon Association with 36 years of experience in the field of orthopedics. We welcome you, sir. Dr. Ketan Shah. Sir is a consulting orthopedic surgeon and joint replacement surgeon at Prabhu Kripa Hospital with 20 years of experience. We welcome you, sir. Dr. Dinesh Chauhan. Sir is the president of Rajkot Orthopedic Surgeon Association with 28 years of experience in the field of orthopedics. We welcome you, sir. Dr. Nishit Sanghvi. Sir is a consulting orthopedic surgeon at Vedant Hospital and the project coordinator of Osteoporosis Awareness Program. We welcome you, sir. Dr. Pareen Kantesaria. Sir is the secretary of Rajkot Orthopedic Surgeon Association with 14 years of experience in the field of orthopedics. We welcome you, sir. Dr. Mittal Dave. Sir is a joint replacement surgeon at HCG Hospital. We welcome you, sir. Dr. Ketan Thakkar. Sir is the secretary of Gujarat Orthopedic Surgeon Association. We welcome you, sir. Please welcome the esteemed team of doctors with a huge round of applause.
Dr. Ketan Thakkar will be addressing the assembly today. Dr. Ketan Thakkar is a consultant with 30 years of experience and expertise. He has his consulting clinic and hospital, Akshat, which carries the tagline, Building Bones and Bonds. He did his MBBS and MS in orthopedics from Medical College and SSG Hospital, Vadodara. His professional interests are complex trauma, geriatric trauma, hip and knee replacement surgeries, and osteoporosis. He has done his fellowships in trauma at Hamburg, Germany, and Basildon, Essex, UK. He serves as an honorary consultant at GT Shade Hospital, Stirling, Wockhardt, Synergy, and SCG Hospitals in Rajkot. He is an official recognized teacher and lecturer of Saurashtra University, teaching at KK Sheth Physiotherapy College and also for FCPS for Dr. Ortho at GT Sheth Hospital. He is currently the secretary of Gujarat Orthopedic Association. He has been the organized secretary of the Gujarat State Orthopedic Association Annual Conference at Rajkot in 2020. He is a past president of the Orthopedic Society of Rajkot and has also served as the honorary secretary of the IMA Rajkot branch in the past. He is a keen reader and writer, an avid traveler, and an eager quizzer. He has been the quiz master for Interschool for 5 years and IMA GK quiz competitions organized at Rajkot for the last 2 years.
We invite Dr. Ketan Thakkar to address the audience on behalf of the renowned team of doctors present here.
Thank you so much. First of all, it's an absolute pleasure and privilege to be here. You all know that winning any ATP tournament is absolutely wonderful. But say winning at Wimbledon is something entirely different. So being in TGES is very, very different. It's a hallowed ground here that we see these kind of students and this kind of feedback. So first of all, a big, big thank you to all the teachers, the staff who have been taking great pains and troubles for organizing this. And of course, a big, big thank you right from the beginning to all of you for being here and being a part of this awareness program, which is all about osteoporosis. Can we have the first slide? Yes, please. So, we need to live a healthy life. Am I on the right ground on that part? Right? All of us need to be healthy. Next one. Have you heard the name osteoporosis? Like people have possibly heard of diabetes. How many of you have heard of diabetes? Can you raise your hands? Wonderful. Now, have you heard of a heart attack and a high blood pressure? Again, raise your hands. How many of you have heard of that? Okay, and now, how many of you have heard of the actual word osteoporosis? Yeah, so much lesser. That is where we are here. We are here to basically inform you or explain you why we are here and why this is very important. Next one. Like by definition, if you want to go by, osteoporosis is something which has, osteo is a word which means bones, and porosis means there are pores or there are holes in the bone. Right? Very simple. So if there are more pores in the bone is supposed to be a very strong thing. We sort of compare it with, say, iron or something. Am I right? So if the bones are not supposed to be strong, they sort of tend to get weaker because there are more holes in the bone. You are all students of science, so you also understand density. Am I right? So what happens? Here the density of the bones reduces. You have a bone which is much less denser than normally it should be. So this is how it goes by, and very, very importantly, when you say density, you are basically talking of the mass and the volume. Not only does the mass and the volume become low, but also the quality of the bone deteriorates. That is where we are worried. The quantity is definitely reducing, but the quality is also worsening. That is like a double whammy. Next one. So if you see the first picture, the squarish one, that is how the density of bone looks like. And then you see the lower picture, you see more black, right? You basically get much lesser bone tissue. You have, because bone is not just calcium, let me tell you. I'm going to remove that mindset that it is all about calcium. No, it is not just all about calcium. There is something known as a base or the ground matter, which is the matrix of the bone, which is also lesser, which consists of proteins, which is also lesser. So we are purely not talking of the lack of calcium. Calcium is the most vital element, but yes, the proteins and the background, including the bone cells, they are also lacking. That's the problem. Next one. Very importantly, what happens is osteoporosis is what they call a very silent disease because you do not come to know about it. There are very few symptoms or the Symptoms means the complaints that the patient has. The patient hardly ever complains of pain. I mean, at times when people say, I have, say, some backache here and there, or some pain in the body here and there, you sort of overlook it. Even as doctors, we tend to overlook it. And after a long time, we realize that the patient is a patient of osteoporosis, right? So that is where we need to be aware that it does not show up big symptoms. Like patients have the pain which is very, very mild or very, very dull aching, which nobody pays attention to either by the doctor or by the family members, and they hardly ever come to you. They would possibly come to you when there is an actual fracture, which is too late. That is the time you have lost the battle. Next one. So why are we here? Why are we Dindoro Sukarva P2I? What is the importance? Why talk to you? Because this is actually happening in the elderly group. This is happening more to the senior citizens. But why then we want to talk to the students of your age? So that's where this is going to be important. Next one. See, there are 20 million Americans. I am not talking of Indians because in India getting statistics is very, very difficult. You all know that. આપણને ખરેખર આંકડા ખબર જ નથી પડતા હોતા. That is the big problem in India. But at the same time, if you see that this is the quantity in the Americans, you can possibly multiply it. You can exponentially multiply it because India has a much, 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 much higher population. Am I right? Okay. You get a possibility of developing hip fractures, spine fractures, and wrist fracture, which is pretty high, almost nearing 20%. And what this leads to ultimately, if we notice during our practical life experiences, all these hip fractures, then they tend to, or the spine fractures, then they tend to lead to ultimate bedriddenness and deaths, which is really bad. People dying of a bone problem and then dying, obviously not on the cards. Next one. Again, as far as India is concerned, we do have this important documentation that 1 out of 3 females in India is suffering from this, which is a pretty high incidence. And 1 in 8 males is going to suffer from this. And as far as the Western world is concerned, the difference here that we have is at the age of 55, we can start seeing this on an average in India. Whereas in the Western world, if you have noticed, maybe you've seen all these things in the TV or on your mobiles, that you get people who are more active there, they are into more of outdoor sports than all of us are. And that is why they tend to have it much later, somewhere around the age of 70, 75. Next one. According to the WHO, you have all heard of WHO? Yeah. So WHO says that this problem is second to the heart disease in the world. So you can imagine it's as bad. It is even worse than if you compare the figures or the numbers or the statistics, it's as bad as cardiovascular disease. It is second in the rung. And then, of course, this is more common in women. I'm going to come to that in a short while. But if you compare, like in women, the common things that you get to see are the brain stroke, the heart attacks, and the breast cancer. All these 3 are very feared kind of diseases in females. So if you combine all of them together, all these 3 things, which are pretty commonly known to all of you, osteoporosis is that much more common than the combined quantity of all these 3. So you can imagine how bad a problem it is or how frequent that problem is. Next one. This is a very, very important slide, why we are here. If you notice the green phase, which is the active growth phase, which if you see the figures below, it happens somewhere around the age of 20 to 30. Now, you are in the age group where you can build the bones. There is an upward curve at that time. Your age group between 10 and 20, and then between 20 and 30 when you will go to the colleges. But if you notice, after the age of 30, somewhere around 35, there is a definite loss in your bones. So if you want to build your bones, this is the right time. Then you are basically losing bone. People believe that you start losing bone after the age of 50. No, you actually start losing it very gradually, very slowly after the age of 35. Then you are basically playing catch up. Right? So you cannot do that. You have to start building your bones at this age, which is going to be important. Next one. Nobody wants to look like this. Am I right? At the age of 50? Everybody wants to look like a very, very healthy person, like say Amitabh Bachchan or Hema Malini, who are like very fit even at this age. Right? Next one. Yeah, you don't want to be dependent. You don't want to be like in the bed or something. Obviously not the in thing. Next one. I think you have passed this phase. I'm sure you have passed this phase. But ultimately, you want to be very active, very agile, like very fit. All of you tend to go to the gym. All of you tend to go to some sports arena and do fitness regimes for yourselves. Am I right or not? All of you want to be fitter? No controversies about that? Okay, next one. So what you get is back pain. Over a period of time, what you tend to get is ultimately because the spine, your vertebra, they start getting very, very thin and very, very weak. The vertebra will not actually break into two parts. It will actually shrink in size. It will become narrower in size, and that is why the vertebra will tend to collapse. And down the line, you may be seeing quite a few elderly people who are like this, which is what we call stooping. Am I right? So when you see these people, and then you may be seeing a lot of old grandmas who are almost bent like this and going to the temple with that theli, right? Those are the ones who are having osteoporosis. They have obviously not figured it out well in their times. Okay, next one. So there is pain here, there, everywhere. So patient coming to us and saying that we are having pain at the back, we are having pain at the upper back, we are having pain in the thighs, we are having pain in the legs, in the wrist. So all this boils down to having possibly osteoporosis. You tend to get more fractures, and the fractures happen because of what we call a very minor injury, or what we call a trivial injury. Like people having a small minor fall in the, say, bathroom, they possibly tend to have this. Or old ladies who are trying to maybe make a bed, they are just trying to bend forwards, and when they get up, they'll hear a noise in their back. So all these things, at times we get patients who are reasonably immobile in their home because of many medical problems, and they have not even moved out of their bed and they still get a fracture. So when people come and tell us that we have not had any injury, how can I have a fracture? But they can still have a fracture if they are pretty much immobile, pretty much confined to the bed, and yet they can have a fracture. So that is really alarming. That is really worrisome. Okay? And then, of course, you are more in the bed, you get more surgeries, you get more depressed, you get more dependent upon others, and you don't feel like living. Gujarati ma ek shabd છે, જીજી વિશા ઓછી થઈ જાય. People don't feel like living. People don't care about them. We are getting more into nuclear families than into joint families, and then there is nobody to take care about them because they are virtually confined to the bed or to the room. Next one. So this is what I told you: back pain, loss of height, and the stoop posture. Next one. Have you seen Mantra in Ramayana? She looked like that. So this is how you should know that our scriptures have talked about this so long back. Next one. And the commonest places where you can get these problems to be seen in a patient is they can get a wrist fracture. A lady about 45, 50 also, they fall on the wrist and they have a wrist fracture. As I told you, a spine fracture, and maybe down the line at the age of 70, they fall in the bathroom and have a hip fracture. Next one. Everybody knows what is this? They're the World Trade Center Twin Towers. And then what happened to them? Next one. They collapsed. Of course, it happened because of one act. But this can happen with the bones. This is what actually happens to the bones in osteoporosis, let me tell you. It doesn't happen because of a terrorist attack, but it does happen because of you not doing well on your health side. Next one. So what are the causes? Why do we get osteoporosis? What are the things that we should be careful about? Number one, as I told you, calcium is the hero of this movie. Calcium going wrong, I'm sure you are going wrong. Similarly, vitamin D is a judwa. Vitamin D goes along wherever calcium goes. It will not, I mean, they are basically even brothers who are lost in that Kumbh Mela, but they have to get together at some time, right? You have bad food habits. Let us not discuss about that because I'm sure I am an equal culprit. But at the same time, we can improve upon that. I know that TGES has made an attempt right from the word go, from the time that my children were here, years back, that they have reasonably healthy food habits. All these shops have come out later on. But at the same time, I'm sure that you are much better into food habits than other children. And of course, getting older. Can anybody change that? You are 16 today, 17 today, you are going to get 18 tomorrow, 19 tomorrow. Can anybody go in reverse? I've just seen a movie, Benjamin Button. Except him, possibly nobody goes in the reverse age. Right? Next one. Inactive lifestyle, like you are sitting on the couch doing nothing, it will lead to this. You have a very thin body structure. I need to talk to ladies big time about these, the young ladies. Because since the time that Aishwarya Rai and Sushmita Sen became Miss India, everybody wants to follow that path, become as thin as possible, not eat, do whatever, but remain thin by hook or crook. That is really big trouble for you if you are talking of osteoporosis. I'm not talking of getting like very obese or fat, but at least some kind of body status you need to have. I'm not too much worried about boys on this account, but at the same time, there are quite a few individuals who are like very thinly built. I'm not talking of the height, I'm talking of the body. They do need to develop a few muscles here and there. Next one. So as I told you, this is more common in ladies. Purely the matter of fact is, it is the hormones, hormones, hormones. Have you possibly, all of you heard of something known as estrogen? Yeah, in science, in your biology, estrogen is something which protects the females. So at the age of 45, when the estrogen stops and once the ladies enter what they call menopause, the estrogens will take away its protective cover over the, it is that suraksha kavach over the bones, which goes away, and that is why they tend to lose bone material after the age of 45. That is the bottom line why ladies tend to have it more than the males. It's not that males don't get menopause, but at the same time it is not so aggressive or not so well defined as in females. That's another matter altogether, another topic altogether. But why I have put up these 4 different looking females? Because that Mongoloid race as well as the Afro-American race, they tend to have it lesser genetically. Whereas the Caucasian race, the Indians and the Americans and the Europeans, they tend to have it more. Can you change that? You cannot change that, but at the same time, maybe your offspring can change that if you marry another race. That's another matter. But at the same time, generally, you are born with your race. So ethnicity is something which you cannot change. Next one. Your size does matter. If you are very, very thin, it's not going to work. I am totally dead against it. I am not telling you to be like super heavyweight, but at the same time, we need to be at least somewhere near normal. There is a ratio which goes with the height and the weight. That is what we need to follow. Next one. Are these divas for you? To me, they are diva studies. You can't be so thin, right? And I'm purely not blaming ladies. Next one. Men are also like this. So I'm really not sort of supporting the males or the females here. I am totally gender neutral. Please work on your bodies. Next one. This is our habit. Any work assigned to us, can someone else do it? And then we are becoming more and more of couch potatoes with the gadgets and the technologies that we have with us. Am I right? We are becoming servants of those gadgets. Next one. This is again an unavoidable misery. Thankfully in Rajkot especially, or in Saurashtra, with dosas or with pizzas, you have a wonderful choice of using chash. But most of the times you tend to depend upon Coke or something, which you must avoid. Next one. Steroid tablets or taking too much of money, acidity thai chem karine, you drink bottles and bottles of Digene, is going to play a role down the line in future, creating more osteoporosis for you. So stress is there, acidity is there, but then you can't be drinking bottles and bottles of Digene. Steroid doesn't apply to you much. It happens with some diseases. Next one. This again, I don't need to talk. I mean, things have gone from bad to worse. Let us put it that way. And this is virtually not under anybody's control. Moms are running behind you. Teachers are running behind you. And yet we need to, COVID sort of taught us to use tablets more than coming to the schools. So it is an inevitable thing which we tend to use for all our day-to-day works. But what I'm trying to tell you is limit the use. You cannot get away from it. So there is just like what you have cheat time on eating, you have to have a cheat time on the gadgets. Next one. You have seen such females especially? Covered all around? Where are you going to get sunlight? Sunlight ni kher che ke tamara ma andar jai shake? You don't, allow the sunlight to enter, and those people from Europe and America come to Goa beaches or Diu beaches and do sunbathing. We have sun all over us all the time. and we don't use it, it's going to be big time trouble. Next one. Gutka, tamaku, like alcohol, all these are bad. Let us be very clear. I'm talking to a wrong population, but at the same time, this can be a habit depending upon your groups down the line when you're in college. Be very, very careful on this. It is a big, big no in any form. Next one. So what do you do for prevention? You have known the causes, so the solutions become pretty much clear. Regular exercise works, no junk food, you need to reach a normal weight, and obviously enjoy sunshine. Next one. A few more things, very similar. You need to live a very active, healthy lifestyle. You need to have proper, healthy food habits. And do not sit in front of the TV and the mobiles all through your day. Next one. Gandhiji also told, and Johnny Walker also told, that you need to keep walking. So you better believe at least one of them. Am I right? Next one. Walking is the most important thing purely because it is a weight-bearing exercise. And then people are very fond of yoga, but they do yoga on the behest of Mr. Ramdev. Right? The question is, you need to begin much earlier. You need to begin earlier than what Baba Ramdev started. So I'm sure quite a few must be doing that. Yoga helps you to gain more strength and more flexibility. So people who are like, I'm not a good walker, I don't want to walk, I don't want to go out, yoga can be done indoors, even with the rains coming on. Next one. And then, of course, these fancy things like Zumba and aerobics and all that is very good. Ultimately, it has to be what we call weight-bearing exercises. You have to be on your feet, you have to be on your toes. When people tell me cycling for osteoporosis, not a great idea. Swimming for osteoporosis, not the primary idea. They are helpful, but not as much as walking, running, jogging, yoga, Zumba, aerobics. All these are better. Not a no to swimming or cycling. Next one. Of course, you need to exercise, exercise, exercise. I mean, for this, the common problem is that people, when they think of going for exercises, you get Tariq pe Tariq. I'll begin from 1st August. I'll begin from Diwali. Thankfully, we have 2 New Years, the Gujarati as well as the English. So a resolution is passed every 2 times in a year. Next Gujarati year, next English year. It keeps on happening. Tariq pe Tariq. We actually don't join. Next one. So even if you sort of want to join, you are like the next day only you have so much work that you are sleepy. Next one. So this is very important slide. If you see somewhere in the middle, the teens, 13 to 8, and then the men and the women from 19 onwards, you need about 1200 to 1300 milligrams of calcium per day. That is the required allowance. Next one. What are the calcium-rich foods? This is a very important slide once again. Milk is, of course, the most important thing. The dairy products are very important. But the other things, people are not very happy at times with milk and milk products. Then you have ragi, you get the curry leaves, it's like apno limdo. You get the til seeds, sesame, the cumin seeds, that is jeeru. All these are very good. And then the bottom line, tofu, almonds, fish, figs and broccoli and orange juice. All these are very good for your calcium intake. Next one. People have problems with milk, and that's why I have given all those other choices. People don't like taking milk, they cannot digest milk. You have taken milk at home, mummy ke jadapthi dudh pee le, pachi tarat skule jawanu che, and then you are sitting in a CNG bus getting problems. Right? Because you don't digest it well. It's a protein which needs time to digest. And then there are so many other reasons why people don't prefer taking milk. Next one. People have this misconception that bananas contain a lot of calcium. It is absolutely wrong. Bananas have magnesium. Bananas contain 5 grams of calcium per 100 grams. It is very less if you compare with milk, which is 120 milligrams. As I told you, oranges have much more. Ragi flour has much more. So if you like eating bananas, I don't have a problem. But if you are intending to take bananas as a source of calcium, big no. Next one. Calcium and vitamin D are like Siamese twins. They cannot be separated. You need to have calcium, need to have vitamin D as well. So where do you get your vitamin D from? Next one. You have to understand the importance of the small little quantity of vitamin D that you need to have. Next one. You get it obviously from the best natural source, that is sunlight. Why I'm asking you about sunlight? Because it is readily available in India big time. Like 10 hours you have sunlight. You have to depend upon it. Next one. It is just 15 minutes a day for 5 days in a week, which is very, very possible. Some people believe that going in the morning, when even the dogs and the roosters have not waken up, going at that time to walk around racecourse doesn't help you. At least allow the sun to rise, no? You have to go after 7, after 8, when the sunlight is proper, and you ideally need what you call ultraviolet rays. Ultraviolet rays in a bigger quantity is bad. It can cause skin cancer, but at the same time, if you don't get ultraviolet rays, you do not get sunlight, you do not get vitamin D. So you have to go ideally between 9 and 1. That is the ideal time, which is difficult for you guys because you are in school. But maybe during the intervals, or the recess, you can use up that time. Next one. These are the vitamin D food sources. Very difficult to take because all of them are non-vegetarian. Gujarat, Saurashtra, Rajkot is prima facie a vegetarian place, right? Even like Domino's had to stop their non-veg stuff. And that is why we have to concentrate on a source which is easy and is vegetarian. That is, sunlight is obviously vegetarian. Next one. So the bottom line is, if you change your lifestyle and your food today, you can improve your tomorrow big time. Am I on correct ground on that thought? Okay, next one. Is it a mission possible for all of you? Can you do this? I just need a few hands up, maybe all of them. All these things which I told, are they possible or they are impossible? Great, thank you. Next one. So you need to do this because otherwise, jukega. Not just Pushpa, but everybody will have to do that. You will get that stooped posture which you don't want. Next one. So thank you very much. These 3 figures are there because it is J.R.D. Tata's birthday today, possibly the biggest business tycoon in India. It's the International Tigers Day, as everybody knows. And this was the day when Arc de Triomphe was made in 1836. Thank you so much, everybody. Any questions? Do we have some time for questions? Any questions? Something which is like sitting on your minds and you need to sort of clear up that doubt, even among the teachers? Anything funny is also acceptable, that's not a problem. Okay, great.
Thank you, sir, and the esteemed panel of doctors for taking out valuable time from your busy schedule for these informative sessions. These information you shared today will undoubtedly prove invaluable to our audience and their families, empowering them with a better understanding of orthopedic health.
Namaste, everybody, and a special namaste to the esteemed team of doctors who's here today. So I think today has been a learning session in multiple ways. The first and most obvious is, of course, the information that Dr. Thakkar shared with all of us and how important it is. There's some misconceptions that we had that got cleared, and hopefully they are hoping to catch you all early. I'm sure we've all heard that prevention is better than cure. And if you were to take the medical profession just as a profession where somebody goes to earn money, it would benefit the most doctor community if we all went for cures. But you can see that there's a group of people who are truly committed to what they're doing, to heal. And so they've taken time out of their very, very busy schedules to come here and talk about prevention rather than cure. And I think that itself deserves a very, very huge round of applause. Can we please have that once again? I think it's also very nice that all of you came together, because it just shows that this is not the belief of one person, but of an entire community, and that's what they are trying to spread awareness for. And I think, most importantly, Dr. Thakkar has broken a very big myth for so many of us, who most of the times consider that our doctors are supposed to be strict and very, very serious. And every time we go to them, we have to get worried. I think, sir, with your sense of humor and how you presented things, I'm sure you caught the attention of a lot more people early in the morning. So thank you for that as well. We are very grateful that you took so much time to be here. So I think on that note, let's stand up and have a standing ovation for this entire team today, right?
Please get ready for the national anthem. Assembly, Saudhan.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय है,
भारत भाग्य विधाता। पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा,
द्राविड उत्कल बंगा,
विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा,
उज्जल जलधि तरंगा।
तब शुभ नामे जागे,
तब शुभ आशीष मागे,
गाये तब जय गाथा।
जनगण मंगलदायक जय हे,
भारत भाग्य विधाता।
जय हे जय हे जय हे, जय 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 हे।
Assembly, Vishram. Please be seated. Thank you all for being here and have a great day ahead. Thank you, doctors.
सुन लो मेरी पुकार, सुन लो